Welcome to the CBS 6 News at noon. We are following breaking news out of Chesterfield County, where emergency crews are on standby right now at the Chesterfield Airport. They're awaiting a small plane coming in with landing gear problems. They were alerted to this incident about an hour ago that the small prop plane with 2 people on board had some landing gear problems and they needed to come into the Chesterfield County Airport. We don't know exactly what kind of plane this is. It is a twin prop. There are 2 people on board. The estimation is that plane will arrive in just about 5 minutes at the Chesterfield County Airport. Lieutenant Jason Elmore of the Chesterfield County Fire Department tells us that the plane will likely do a fly around the airport, what he called a fly around, until the emergency crews are totally in place. CBS 6 has 2 crews on the way to the scene, and we will bring you updates on this information as we get that. Again, the plane with landing gear problems coming in just a few minutes at the Chesterfield County Airport. The emergency crews are on standby to help them with that landing. In other news this afternoon, CBS 6 finds out that 2 brothers facing charges in connection with this attack caught on camera on the VCU campus are now facing more charges in another local jurisdiction. Our Jarita Patterson has been talking to prosecutors this morning to find out if the charges in Henrico are connected to that VCU attack. Jarita joins us live now from the Manchester Courthouse in South Richmond. Jarita?
And Cheryl, I can tell you the short answer is it is too early to know if the cases are connected. Now, Henrico prosecutors are telling me their case is still very much an active investigation. The case that was set to appear here before a general district court in Richmond at the Manchester Courthouse, it has been delayed because of a mix-up with the court. I want to show you who we are talking about. 21-year-old Adam Wallace, who you see there on the left, and his younger brother, 20-year-old Zachary Wallace. They are both facing assault by mob charges here in Richmond. Offenses police say are connected to the beating and robbery of a VCU student back in August. But what we learned today, the brothers who are currently behind bars in Henrico are also facing other charges. Between the two, they're facing several offenses to include grand larceny, burglary, robbery, and firearm charges unrelated to the Richmond offenses. Now, I spoke briefly to Zachary's lawyer earlier today, who tells me if the 2 brothers were found guilty of the assault by mob offense, they are facing up to a year behind bars and a fine of $2,500. This case, it has been rescheduled to next Friday. Of course, we will continue to follow this evolving story. We'll bring you any updates on air as well as online at WTVR.com. For now, we are live on the city's south side. Jarita Patterson, CBS 6 News.
Here's an update to a story we've been following since Monday. We've learned that a snake bite did kill a man who was found dead in his Chesterfield home earlier this week. The medical examiner made that determination and has ruled 70-year-old Jack Redmond's Monday death an accident. Redmond's family said he'd collected venomous snakes all his life. Early in the investigation, police revealed there was a snake bite wound on Redmond's body, but they could not confirm that that was the cause of death. That has now been confirmed. 24 snakes were removed from the Hinshaw Road home and are being relocated to appropriate facilities. The medical examiner has also confirmed the teenager whose car slid off Courthouse Road and into a swamp died of drowning. 17-year-old Prince George High School senior Marvin Massenberg Jr. was attempting to pull over off the road for a police cruiser to pass with lights and sirens on. His car continued to slide into the Blackwater swamp where it overturned. After the accident, VDOT announced it will install guardrails at that site. In campaign 2012 news, many people who watched last night's presidential debate are saying Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney was the clear winner. Mr. Romney's actually here in Virginia today while President Obama visits another battleground state. CBS correspondent Tara Mergener has more from the campaign trail.
Mitt Romney set the debate tone early.
Under the president's policies, middle-income Americans have been buried.
Energetic and aggressive, Romney slammed the president's economic record and laid out his own plan.
There'll be no tax cut that adds to the deficit. I want to underline that. No tax cut that adds to the deficit.
But the president repeatedly insisted that Romney is calling for $8 trillion in tax cuts and spending that cannot be paid for without adding to the deficit or burdening more middle-income Americans.
It's math. It's arithmetic.
The president also criticized his opponent for not providing more details about Wall Street reform and health care.
At some point, I think the American people have to ask themselves, is the reason that Governor Romney is keeping all these plans to replace secret because they're too good?
privately, the Obama campaign is conceding that Romney's extensive debate preparation paid off at a time when he needed a lift.
Many viewers saw a president not at the top of his game.
He seemed a bit nervous for some reason, almost that some questions threw him off, and Mitt Romney seemed to throw him off a bit as well.
But not everyone is giving the win to Romney.
Obama he was more comfortable with his ideas. Romney was working a bit too hard, trying to convince people because he's down on the polls.
The president and Mitt Romney square off again 2 more times. The next debate is a town hall-style event in New York.
And that was CBS correspondent Tara Mergener. CBS 6 News political analyst Dr. Bob Holdsworth weighed in following the debate last night, saying both candidates have a lot of ground to cover before the November presidential election.
The Obama campaign recognizes that they're not going to coast to election here in the next 4.5 weeks, that this is really going to be a battle, that they're not going to be able to just say we're ahead by 9 in Ohio, we're ahead by 3 in Florida, that Romney did himself some good tonight. And I think at the end of the day, what's happened here is Republicans have become re-energized by the Romney performance, and the Democrats are going to rededicate themselves, I believe, to hitting back very, very hard over the next 4.5 weeks.
Meantime, Virginia's U.S. Senate candidates will face off this Monday night in a debate brought to you by CBS 6, WCVE, the League of Women Voters of Virginia, and AARP Virginia. Democrat Tim Kaine and Republican George Allen are vying to replace Jim Webb, who is not running for re-election. You can watch that Senate debate live here on CBS 6 Monday evening beginning at 8. We'll also be streaming the debate live on our website at WTVR.com. Both candidates on the Republican presidential ticket are making a stop here in Virginia today. This will be Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan's first joint appearance here in the Commonwealth since Romney named Ryan as running mate in Norfolk in early August. The pair will appear at the Augusta Expoland in Fisherville, along with country singer Trace Adkins. Well, check your mailbox. Officials say all voter registration cards have now been mailed, and every registered voter should have one by tomorrow. Nearly 4.7 million new cards were sent out as part of the state's new voter ID law. If you haven't received yours, the Board of Elections is asking you to review your registration record on their website, making sure all your information is up to date. They say if you are a registered voter and don't get your new voter registration card by tomorrow, contact your local election office or the Virginia State Board. October 15th is the deadline to update your registration information or register to vote in the November 6th election. A rare and deadly form of meningitis has made its way here to Virginia. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says one person here in Virginia has died from this non-contagious form of meningitis. 3 others in the state are sick from it. A total of 26 cases have been reported in several states. 4 of those have been fatal. The CDC says all the cases are connected to a steroid injection used to treat back pain. Federal health officials have identified the manufacturer and issued a recall of the medication. Officials say they expect to see more cases because it can take up to 28 days for the infection to develop. Virginia officials say they are looking at cases from 2 clinics in the southwestern part of the state. Symptoms of this type of meningitis include severe headache, nausea, dizziness, and fever. If you have symptoms, you're advised to call your doctor immediately. A local landscaping company has offered to donate its time and resources to fix a football field at Thomas Jefferson High School that was vandalized. Police tell us the damage was caused by someone driving onto the field and doing donuts, ripping up the turf. It happened sometime Tuesday night, causing thousands of dollars in damage.
We have somebody coming down here every single day, watering it 7 days a week. It's not going to deter us at all. So we have 3 weeks before October 26th homecoming against Douglas Freeman. So hopefully 3 weeks we can get it up and going.
There was a similar act of vandalism over the weekend at J.R. Tucker High School in Henrico County. Police were able to catch that suspect. If you know anything about the vandalism at TJ, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. You can do so anonymously at 780-1000. And we want to get back to that breaking news that we had for you at the top of the show. An emergency landing scheduled for a small plane at the Chesterfield County Airport. Our Greg McQuaid is there on the scene and joins us now by phone with an update. Greg?
Well, Cheryl, the tensions are running very high right now. You see this plane landing. It's a twin-engine Baron. Apparently they've had some terrible landing gear problems. What they're doing right now, it looks like the landing gear is down. They are doing a flyby. You're looking live right now. That's the first visual confirmation that we've had of this plane in the last hour. We heard the plane had some issues at about 11:05. You see at the end of the runway, the Chesterfield EMS and fire, they are here at the airport. What we understand, about an hour ago, the pilot on board this twin-engine Baron plane reported that his landing gear was stuck. So they contacted a mechanic here at the airport, and over the last hour, they have been manually trying to crank the landing gear down with their bare hands on board this plane. You just saw the plane make its first pass over. What they're doing, the airport officials are going to be looking at the landing gear to see if it is safe to land. Jason Elmore with the Chesterfield Fire Department is making a press conference right now. Members of the media here at the observation deck. So it appears the landing gear is down, so they're going to make an attempted emergency landing. They're not sure if this landing gear is sturdy enough to make this landing here at the Chesterfield Airport, but there is plenty of apparatus, fire engines here, ambulances at the ready. There's a wrecker here. As you can see, that there is a fire truck at the far end of the airport's runway, and they have ambulances basically manning every couple of 100 feet here, just in case something does terribly go wrong. But it appears that the landing gear was hand-cranked over the last 15 minutes or so. It's a slow process, and we're standing by. Hopefully, this plane will land safely. But they're attempting to land here in the next couple of minutes. So that's the latest here, Cheryl, and we'll be standing by, bringing you the very latest.
Greg, I think we're going to stay on this shot for just a little bit, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I know you're there on the scene. When the plane did do the flyby, it looked like the landing gear was down, but I guess the main thing is to find out whether the gear has actually locked. When we first got a call, they said that they might have to make a belly landing, but I don't see any foam or anything out on the runway.
Jason Elmore with Chesterfield Fire Department said that they had been making contact with the pilot and the co-pilot on board this twin-engine Baron plane, and the mechanic was walking them through, hand-cranking the landing gear down. But as you said, not sure if it is in fact locked, but they're making a circling around the airport. I can hear the engines. I'm trying to locate that plane. I do see it. It's off in the distance right now. They're going to make they're probably about a half mile to 3/4 of a mile from the runway, but probably a very tense situation here on the ground. I spoke briefly with a young man here who knows one of the people on board, and as you can imagine, it's a very very scary situation. I'm not sure if you can hear the plane's engines in the background of this, but they're going to attempt to land this twin engine here. As you can imagine, this airport doesn't see a lot of activity like this for sure, but it looks like the entire Chesterfield Fire Department is on scene here. Several dozen members of the Chesterfield Fire and EMS, they're standing by. The low hum and rumble of the twin-engine plane, you can hear it filling the sky. The plane is a speck off in the distance above the tree line, and it is fairly windy here at the Chesterfield Airport. So they want to make sure that the landing gear is set, it's locked. The plane is banking right now, turning left. It's going to make its final approach here. Our photographer, Chris Munnings, will do his best to capture these very tense moments. The plane is making a steep bank right now, coming into the frame. It should be here in another 30 seconds or so.
This is a unique situation, Greg. I mean, you were actually here in the CBS 6 newsroom when we got this call and were able to make it to the airport. They had about an hour's notice that this plane was on its way into the Chesterfield Airport. Do we know anything about the pilot, the origination of this plane? Are they based out of the Chesterfield Airport? Do we know anything about the pilot and why they were coming in to the Chesterfield Airport an hour out?
Cheryl, I'm going to direct your attention now to the end of the runway. The plane is coming in. I asked Jason Elmore from the Chesterfield Fire Department where it was originating from. He did not have that information at the time. The plane seats about 6 passengers. There are 2 passengers, 2 people on board right now. I see a light on board the plane making visual contact with this twin-engine Baron. There are 2 lights, it looks like headlights, coming in. The plane is about 75 feet in the air and descending, coming in at a rapid pace right here. It's going to be flying over the engines, fire engines there. In just a few seconds, this plane will be touching down. I'm sure plenty of hearts are beating. People crossing their fingers because this is the moment they've been waiting for. The plane is touched down. There are people applauding here in the observation deck. It looks like this plane has landed safely here at Chesterfield Airport. There is joy and jubilation on the faces of the airport. The Chesterfield Fire Department is rushing downstairs right now, and the people that are here, you can imagine, are overjoyed. I'm going to get on the phone right here with Jason Elmore. Jason, you're going live right now. Jason, tell us about this very tense situation right here. Now that the plane is down, it's got to be very relieving.
It is very relieving. We're glad to see that they're on the ground safe and everything was okay. It was a great opportunity for the maintenance personnel here to talk them through the procedures. We're glad that the emergency procedures worked with the hand crank and they were able to get the wheels down, and they are on the ground safely, and all of our prayers were answered.
Jason, you acted fast. I noticed there were several dozen members of the Chesterfield Fire and EMS department that were here manning the entire length of the airport. How fast did you folks go into action?
As soon as we got the call, we started getting our crews together. We have an airport fire truck here at our airport fire station, and was able to get here within moments of the call, and got all of our personnel assembled. We were very fortunate today. We didn't have to use those resources, but we were prepared to do so if we needed to.
Jason, what's next in this process?
Well, right now we just want to make sure that we get them off of the plane, get them safely in here, make sure that they're okay physically and emotionally as well, and then we'll go ahead and let the airport and the owner of the plane reunite with them.
Jason Elmore at Chesterfield Fire, we appreciate the time. A very relieved Jason Elmore. Thank you very much. That is the latest right here, folks. But again, this twin-engine Baron plane has landed safely after a very tense 65, 70 minutes or so here, and the dozens of people that have gathered here at the Chesterfield County Airport are breathing a sigh of relief. We're going to attempt to speak with the people that are on board and those that knew them and find out exactly what happened and what it was like to be up there. So that's the very latest. Cheryl will send it back to you, but reporting live from Chesterfield County Airport, Greg McQuaid will send it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Greg. An amazing story unfolding live there for you at the Chesterfield County Airport. A plane reported about an hour out that they were having problems with their landing gear. They were able to hand crank it down, and they made that emergency landing, as you saw there, live safely. We'll be right back with more CBS 6 News at noon.
CBS 6 Sky Tracker, sponsored by Baugh Auto Body.
Skies remain mostly cloudy for now, but we are going to see a decrease in this cloud deck from the west to the east as we go through the rest of this afternoon. And most of our rain is ending as well. As we look over on Weather Tracker quickly, please, you will see that over on Weather Tracker, we continue to have the rain ending. And most of this is now just occasional sprinkles, very light shower activity that's tracking through central Virginia. The actual legitimate, I would say, rain that you could actually have to use your windshield wipers for is closer to Wakefield along 460 as you go into southeastern parts of Virginia. Let me show you what's going on way up into the north central plains. This is an early season winter storm that will storm total produce up to 6 to 12 inches of accumulation, and I will say that for eastern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota, even for them, this is a bit early to be getting this kind of winter storm. So let's look at the national picture here, please, and you will see this little low pressure system pretty tight. It's going on up back into Canada now, but this cooler air behind it, check out some of these temperatures. Ooh, 30s and 40s. This very strong cold front is eventually going to reach us as we go into this weekend and bring us a really good burst of fall, cooler, drier air. For right now, though, we still are trying to push out at the upper levels this system that has been with us for the last several days, making it feel so muggy and so uncomfortable. And there has been a weak boundary sliding eastward out toward the coast. That's finally moving away from us. As you go through this afternoon, just a slightest chance for a few isolated showers or sprinkles left over. You can see that they may impact Richmond. I'm just keeping a 20% chance in, but it looks like most of our rain is now done. And we will also see a decrease in the cloud cover, as I mentioned, from the west to the east through the rest of this afternoon and evening. You'll be able to see the stars overnight tonight. Temperatures right now are into the 70s. It's 74 degrees right now in Richmond. Out at the airport, winds there returning back a bit from the southwest at 10 miles per hour. Air quality report for today, just fine, into the green for us. Highs are going to be into the upper 70s and into the low 80s. Our highs for tomorrow, with plenty of sunshine, surface high pressure in place behind this system, into the low to mid 80s for us, 84 for tomorrow. So there goes our high pressure. And on the tail end of this approaching cold front, there'll be a little low that forms and encourages pulling in that cooler air and also bringing us a chance for some showers come Sunday as the system moves through. And then it's going to be, I would say, chilly for us as we go into Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and into Wednesday morning as well. I do expect us to have our first frost of the season into Western Virginia by Monday and Tuesday morning for sure. Cheryl?
All right, thank you, Carrie. Again, we are following breaking news. If you were watching just a couple of minutes ago, you saw the live landing of a small prop plane that was coming in. We've just now learned from Monroe, North Carolina, and it reported about an hour out of its descent that it was having landing gear problems. As we watched and listened, we understand that they actually were able to hand crank the landing gear down. There were 2 people on board the plane, the pilot and a passenger. They just landed just a couple of minutes ago. We do understand, we've just learned also, that this plane is registered in Hopewell, so this is kind of its home base area. Again, many emergency crews had gathered there in case the plane had to make perhaps a belly landing. It was able to get the landing gear down and locked and made a safe landing there. That is a live picture there. We're continuing to gather information on this breaking news, and we'll continue to bring it for you here on the CBS 6 News and on WTVR.com. Breaking news in the big story we're following right now. This is a live picture out of the Chesterfield County Airport, where a small plane has just made an emergency landing there after about an hour ago, alerting the airport to the fact that it was en route from Monroe, North Carolina, and was having problems with its landing gear. The landing gear was stuck in the up position. In that hour's time between getting from where it was into the airport there at Chesterfield County, they were able to hand crank the landing gear down, get it locked, do a couple of fly-arounds across the airport in order to get right into position with the emergency crews there, and made that touchdown safely just about 10 minutes ago. As you can see there, they're gathered around the plane there. You can see that in the middle of the screen right below the helicopter there. They are talking to the pilot there now and trying to find out exactly more information there. We do understand this flight originated in Monroe, North Carolina. The plane is registered in Hopewell. We'll, of course, continue to follow this story for you here on CBS 6 and bring you updates both here on the air and on the web at WTVR.com. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.